All right, here we go. All right, so I don't photograph men very often, but I was able to photograph this handsome gentleman at a Sony event, and this is the image that we're gonna edit right now. First things first, the first thing I want to do is get the exposure right. So when I edit the skin, I want to be able to see everything. So I'm gonna bump it up to like right here. I think that this is a good exposure. Next thing I'm gonna do is just click photo right up top, go to edit in, and then Adobe Photoshop CC. So it's gonna send it over to Photoshop. Okay, so when the image opens up in Photoshop, what I'm gonna do is click window and then open up the actions. Okay, and then you go to frequency separation and then you play the action. All right, so when that opens up, you want to go ahead and click the white layer mask here on the right side. What you're going to do is you're able to paint on a Gaussian blur on the skin. Now with males, you don't generally want to go too heavy with the Gaussian blur. You want to definitely show some of the skin detail and the texture, even though, you know, with a woman, you probably would remove it, would remove most of it. But with a man, you definitely just, you know, want to leave some of that there. I'm not going to go too crazy. So I'm going to just go ahead and paint on a little bit of blur. You want to make sure you avoid the lines in the face, like under the eye. You don't want to touch the eye with it for sure. It's going to smear. It's going to look kind of blurry. Definitely want to avoid the nose lines. I'm going to go under the chin here. Right? A little bit here under the eye, on the cheeks. And that's going to give me a little bit of, you know, smoothness. So you're going to see that it's going to be very, very subtle. I think that's good right there. Watch before and after, before and then after. You see that subtle blur, very subtle, but I think it looks great. I think that's perfect. So let's see what we can do next to his face. Maybe we could remove these lines. So I'm going to go to the high frequency. This controls the texture layer. I'm going to grab the patch tool. And what you can do here is remove these lines here. I call them laugh lines. I definitely have them. You can just do that to remove them. I mean, you can leave them, but I just want to show you how to remove that there. Let me back up and look at the image. And what I want to do, see this like dark spot right here on his forehead. I want to even that out a little bit, even though it's not that big a deal. So what I'm going to do, since when you're done with blurring, you go ahead and right click on this layer and then you go to merge down. When you merge that down, now you're left with the high and the low frequency. So you want to go ahead and create a duplicate layer of the low frequency so that you can always go back if you make a mistake. So what I'm going to do here is grab the mixer brush. Okay, you want the opacities to be kind of on the low end, 10 to 15 normally. And I want to make sure that the hardness is all the way down. Use a soft round brush. Now what I'm going to do is sample, and all this is doing is sampling the color. What I'm going to do is sample a brighter spot on his forehead, maybe like right here. You pressed Option on Mac, Alt on PC. All right, so you're sampling that color. So now you're able to, in a circular motion, kind of paint on that color. You see what's happening? Look at this. You see that? So watch this, before and after, before and after, before and after. So see how you kind of like blend in the tones of the forehead? See that? Watch, I'm going to back up. Now I might drop the opacity down a little bit. I think it's a little too extreme. See, it's like a little too smooth. It doesn't look real. You see that? So what I'm going to do now is just drop the opacity on this layer for it to look a little bit more realistic, but you know, just more even. You see that? I think that would work right there. Now under the eyes, you know, with women, I always brighten up under the eye. So I'm going to try that out with this guy here. What I'm going to do is create another duplicate layer. I'm able to kind of play around with this image without just, you know, being destructive with it. So I'm going to go ahead and sample this brighter part of the face right there. Now I'm going to kind of, in a circular motion, brush under the eye. And it's going to brighten it up a little bit. All right. Let's see. All right. I brightened it up. Let's see what it actually did. Before and after. Before. Let's see. That's the full before and after. Check that out. Before, then after. You see that? Like, it's the little things. The little things make such a big difference. Watch. Here we go. Before and after. You see that? And I'm actually really happy with how it looks right now. I don't think I would do anything else to it. You could remove like the little bumps and stuff on the face by using a high frequency and then going to spot healing brush. Where is that? No, I'm sorry. There you go. The spot healing brush. You could always do this on the high frequency, but I'm not going to do that. I think it looks fine the way it is. Yeah, I like it. All right, I'm going to back up. So his eyes are a little bit on the dark side. So I definitely want to bring those out before I continue on in this image. So what I'm going to do now is open up dodge and burn, play that action. Now when it opens up, I'm going to start dodging. So with the dodge, so what you're going to do is emphasize the highlights that are already there. So let me change my exposure back down to 4%, which this is usually what I like to use for dodging and burning. You definitely want to use something under 5, in my opinion. So I'm going to paint over here, a little bit on the nose, a little bit over the eyes. So I go in a circular motion over the eyes a couple times just to bring them out a little bit. A little bit right here. Maybe a little bit on the lips, right here on the chin, right? A little bit on this side where it's bright, right there. Side of the necks, right here, right there. Emphasize on that collarbone, all right? And then a little bit on the jacket here. So let's paint on this jacket. You know, I'm going to bump the exposure for the jacket because it's not like when you edit a face, you got to be a little more careful, but when you're editing like clothes, you can definitely go a little more harsh on it. So let me go down this ridge on this jacket. See how it gives it like, it's like sculpting out the jacket. So it gives it more dimension, right? Let's go down this side. I don't want to touch the shadow side with it. See, it just like gives it more dimension, more 3D like. All right. Let's see here. Maybe like right there, right there. All right. All right, so I think I'm gonna just leave it there. So let's take a before and after. Before and then after. Before and after. I like how that looks. He pops out more. I think you see how it sculpts the jacket. I don't even have to do any burning to this image. I think it looks great the way it is, just like that. Bam. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is close this out and then go to layer, flatten out the image. I'm going to send it back to Lightroom. Go to File and then click Save. And then when you go back to Lightroom, there will be that copy, the edited copy alongside your original one. So that's the original, and that is the Photoshop edited one. All right. Now, when it comes to color grading, I usually scroll through my presets like I normally do, and I try to see what's a good baseline of like the kind of tones that I want. So I want cooler tones. I could always go with something like this. I like this. I love the gold, but everything just kind of melts together, I think. I think I like this better. You know what? That actually kind of looks kind of cool. I'm going to go with the... Oh my God, I really want to go with this one. All right, let's stay with this one. Or you know what? This one's not too bad either. This one's just more edgy though. Let me bump up the exposure, lower the contrast a little bit, because this is a very contrasty preset, the gold one. Let me go before and after. You know what? I'm going with this one. It all kind of blends in, but I love how, I don't know, just something about it that I really like. The jacket, I think it makes it pop. So I'm going to go with this preset. I'm lowering down the contrast because I think it's just a little too much. Lower the contrast a little bit. Let me see what the highlights do. Yeah, I'm going to raise the highlights just a tad. Like right there. The shadows. Should I bump the shadows up? Nah, I kind of want to give it a little bit. Yeah, like right there. I'm going to lower them actually. Right there. This is before and after so far. The whites. I think I'm going to leave those alone. The blacks are at 10. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to lower the blacks. Give it more shadow. Yeah, just like that. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at, I'm gonna drop it down a little bit. All right. Now let's play with some of these colors here. The hues of the orange. This is what is really controlling the skin tones, orange, and it colors. Yeah, it also changes the rocks and the jacket. I'm gonna leave that alone. The yellows, oh, the yellow actually controls it more. I'm leaving all that alone. I like the way it looks. I'm trying to see what other adjustments I would make. I usually just play around with the sliders to see what I can do to it to change the color scheme and make it pop. So this is the before and this is the after. There you go. And you see how this is the image, this is the raw image. There's not much contrast to it. So I added a lot of contrast. I think it just gives it that edgy look. Right here, the side of his face really pops. And yeah, I'm really happy with this portrait. This is how I would edit this portrait. All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and let's move on to the next one.